So v'imlo tishmo b'mistarim, v'imlo tishmo b'mistarim tifken nafshi mipnei gaveh. And if you're not going to listen in the hidden places, my soul will cry because of gaveh, like Tengaiva, because of haughtiness. Now it's not clear who's haughty and what is haughty and who's crying. So the Navi seems to be referring to HaKadosh Baruch who's crying. So if you don't follow my commandments, if you turn away from me, so my soul, referring really to Hashem, is going to cry because something is full of haughtiness or something has happened. So I'm Rav Shmuel Bar Onyei Mishmei Derav Makom Yesh La Kadosh Baruch Hu U'Mistar Shema. Kadosh Baruch Hu has a secret hideaway. Now, in the secret of secret caverns, so to speak, Ham Yachol, there is a place called Mistarim, and therefore, in this secret place, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows some emotions when things go against Klal Yisrael. So as much as we feel that there is Hester Panim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu nonetheless has a place where he can...
he doesn't show his face, but he's going privately to...
Correct. So all this, of course, is very difficult to understand. These are metaphors that Navi is using. Ma mipnei gava. What do it mean because of the gaiva? Well, who's gaiva? Some Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak mipnei gavasam sheYisrael shenitla mehem v'nitla lov dekacham. Because of the, in this case, gaiva is not like haughtiness and supercilious, but it's about the feeling of good that they have that's been taken away from them and given to them.
Justified pride.
Right, justified pride. They've now been put down. So, because of the high level of Jewish people and put down, Kadosh Baruch Hu cries. Because of the which has been taken away, because of the high level of the respect for Hashem, which has been taken away. It's pretty much the same thing. We reflect Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu reflects us. If we're put down in the position of subservience, it also reflects on Kadosh Baruch Hu. So the point of it being, this is another one of these sad psukim, and it's coming probably to offset the part about Hester Panim here. Gemara is a question. The question is, does the Kadosh Baruch Hu really show sadness? Right? It's a mystical question, but the Gemara asked the question because the Gemara was going to ask obviously psukim against psukim. Umika b'chir kamesh Kadosh Baruch Hu, is there really crying in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It says Tivke Nafshi. There's no sadness before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shneimar Hod v'had lefanav oz v'ched v'bimkomo. Which by the way is why a Kohen who's an Onen can't be involved in the Avodah. Why Kohanim in Chutz Laretz don't duchen on except for Yontif, because there's a sadness that encompasses them. If they're sad, they could never be serving in the Beis Hamikdash because they can't get Hashwas Shechina. Shechina comes through the Kohanim's hands in the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, in the diaspora, right. So therefore, because of this spiritual sadness, we means Ashkenazim, do not have duchening in Chutz Laretz except on Yom Tovim, right? And don't ask me why we don't have it on Shachos normally. I don't understand that. Right, because if you can do it on Yantiv, you can do it on Musaf, you can do it on Chakras. Right, shouldn't be a reason why you should not be able to duchen.
Isn't there historical reasons also? Why didn't the Gra try and institute it back?
So we've talked about this one. So some of the answers are because of the sadness. Another one of the answers is because it was difficult for the Kohanim. It was difficult to go to the mikvah in medieval Europe. And therefore the Kohanim, who may have been concerned they were Tameh because of even Tameh Shech Vazera or other Tumah, couldn't go. It was difficult for them to go to the mikvah on the way to run to shul in the morning. So ergo, because they weren't in a state of a better state of tahara, they kind of gave up on the duchening.
Isn't there something Jack said also? Someone tried to grow.
So there were two stories that occurred. There were two stories that occurred. One was the grow. One was, I think, Netziv. In one case, someone died. In one case, the town burned down, or something like that.
The shul burned down. The shul burned down.
The shul burned down, and then it was a big fire. Yeah. So they took these two events as a sign that just you're not going to play with this. Right. But at any rate, the more logical reason seems to be probably because of the sadness, in my mind at least.
But his Talmidim were the early ones were all sent to Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, so they duchen there. Okay,
that's the historical basis for it.
It's also actually probably the historical basis, historical past practice of the community. there were Jews there before the Talmudim of the Gra came. They just were many.
Very, very few. Very shvach.
However shvach it was, it appears to me that was the minhag. Now Sfaradim, on the other hand, Sfaradim, there are main communities of Sfaradim which do duchen during weekdays.
Right.
Okay.
Here. No, there.
In Chuzlar, once again, Yirmiyahu is talking, who sees, prophesizes the actual destruction, goes through the actual destruction, lives the destruction, talks about this with all the sadness. Udmoa tidma, a tear will be teared. V'teired einai dima, and my eye or eini will drop a tear. Kinishba eder Hashem, because the flock of Hashem has been captured. Okay, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks like is crying. That's not Yirmiyahu crying. Yirmiyahu is prophesying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to cry. He's going to cry a tear that will fall. That tear will fall out of his eye. So obviously Yirmiyahu is semi-poetic, right? They all speak in cadences, but and not rhythms, but they're blank verse. But the Gemara feels that you've got three cryings going on here. Udmoa tidma, cry is surely going to cry and cry. Dim'a a tear. V'teirad ni dim'a. So Gemara says, Rav Elazar, shalosh mos lama. Why there three tears? Why three cryings? Why is the HaKadosh Baruch Hu crying three times? He's crying. Achas HaMikdash Rishon, v'achas HaMikdash Sheni. Remember, Yirmiyahu lives before the first temple. So you but the Gemara lives after the destruction of the second temple. So in other words, the prophecy of Yirmiyahu, which is about Churban Abayis, is also as a piece of this a future destruction of the second temple, which both take place on Tisha B'Av according to tradition. Okay, so Yirmiyahu is prophesying Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to cry for the first Beis Hamikdash. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to cry for the second Beis Hamikdash. V'yachas la'Yisrael shegalim mimkomam, and a tear for the Jewish people who were exiled from their place. Now, that's the third tier. Now, of course,
wasn't anybody ever cry for the Mishkan? Oh, just out of curiosity.
Because
what happened?
It was taken over by the Plishtim, destroyed.
It was brought back.
Yeah, no, that was just the Aron.
Right, because also the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. The Jewish people were exiled. The Mishkan was taken by the Plishtim, was sent back. It wasn't away for a few years.
The Aron they had. The
Aron, correct. The Mishkan itself is superseded, and the Aron and everything else is brought first to Hebron and then to Yerushalayim.
Yeah, no, but
I mean the question that I asked when I read this Gemara is that, so I understand first Beis Hamikdash, second Beis Hamikdash. What's his achas al Yisrael shegalim mimkom? The Jews were exiled. I mean, isn't that the first and second Beis Hamikdash? What's the third tier for? And in my mind, and I didn't see this anywhere, but I think it makes sense. You have to appreciate the cataclysmic destruction that takes place at the first temple and the second temple, right? We all understand that. But after the second temple is destroyed, there's another event that happens that is almost, maybe even more difficult and terrible for the Jewish people, and that is the revolt of Bar Kokhba that's put down.
Yeah.
The Hadrianic persecutions, and by the way, we look at Hadrian, of course, as this terrible Roman anti-Semite and everything. He prohibited circumcision. Yeah, he did, but he probably did a lot of that with a lot of other people too. And the question: what precipitated the Hadrianic persecutions? Did Bar Kokhba revolt happen because of the Hadrianic persecutions, or did the Hadrianic persecutions happen because of the Bar Kokhba revolt? It's not so clear if you read historians. I know what Chazal say. If you read historians, because there's really not that much material taking place from the actual historical references. We know that people are hiding. We know that people are trying to survive. We know that people are being killed, right? But that's it. So I think when Chazal, who live after the time of Mered Bar Kokhba, after the Hadrianic persecutions are over, look at that as a cataclysmic event. Why Kadosh Baruch Hu cried again? That's like a third Churban. And that was it. When that happened, that was finished. Whatever was up on Har HaBayis, whatever ruins were there on Har HaBayis, they raised again. They knocked them off. There was nothing left.
Yeah, no, I think as you say, the real difference isn't so much. Look, the Churban, when the second BAYT was destroyed, the Jews were not exiled.
No.
From only really Bar Kokhba's revolt that the Jewish polity, let's say, was completely destroyed. That really wasn't destroyed.
So that's how I read that. Anyways, the Gemara gives another twist. Some say the third tier is Achas al Bittul Torah. Okay? It's not about no destruction, about Bittul Torah. So, and today, Baruch Hashem, we live in many places where people can learn and learn and learn, whether it's our city or Eretz Yisrael, of course, where there's tons and tons of Torah going on. Anyway, so the Gemara basically is saying the two are connected. Bittul Torah is an effect of Golus. Golus is a cause of Bittul Torah. Okay, so they're really saying two halves of the same coin. Tan Rabbanan, Shlosha Kadosh Baruch Hu Boch Aleim B'Chol Yom. Kadosh Baruch Hu cries for three people every day. You were getting a little bit off topic, as you see, right? One, first person, Al Shef Shalasok B'Torah Ve'Eino Osei. For a person who could learn Torah and doesn't, the person who can't learn, who does learn, who presents himself, so got to be very careful how you say this. Well, a person who can't paskin, who paskins, right? A person who doesn't know what they're talking about, who's learning out of their league. It's not like you're out of your league, but you need to know what you don't know.
The third one.
Correct. And the third one, Yaparnas HaMiskala Tzibur. And for a communal leader who is overbearing upon the Tzibur. All right, okay.
This is crying every day.
True. That's how society runs. Strong man takes over. All right, next piece. Rabbi Havi Nokat Sefer Kinnis. V'kavikari B'gavei. Rabbi was reading, we had a Kinnis. Kinnis means Eicha. He was reading Eicha. Kinnis, of course, we refer to the Kinnis we say after Eicha. But Sefer Kinnis refers to Eicha in the Gemara. So, Kimatalai Psuka, when he came to the Pasuk in Eicha base, Hishlich Mishamayim Eretz, when he said that Kadosh Baruch Hu threw down from heaven down to the earth. In other words, we were on the heights. And we were thrown down from the heights down to the ground. So as he's reading it, Nafal Min Yadei, the Sefer Eicha fell out of his hand. So he says he took that as a simon. Amar said, "Igra Ram Labira," from a high level down to Labira Mikta, to a low plane. Okay. Story. Okay. We're getting a little further afield. Rabbi Chia, another story. This is actually a nice story. Rabbi Chia v'shakli v'azli b'orcha. Rabbi and Rabbi Chia were going along the road, and they're traveling. Kimatalahu masa. When they came to a certain town, Amrei, they said, "Ikot sur b'rabbanan hacha nezon l'kabe ape." They said, we should find out if a rabbi lives in this town, the Talmud Chacham. We should give him a little kavod. We should go, be makabel upon him. Now, in other words, were like you hear every once in a while, great Gadol is coming to Toronto, right? The Kabbalah upon him, this Rebbe, that Rebbe, okay? So we should go give him kavod. Now, what they really meant is to find. They're traveling, they're schlepping. They didn't really want to get off the road. Right. So we'll find the gadol. We'll say they'll put out news. The great Rebbe and Rabbi Chia is in town. This local rabbi will come to greet them, and he'll get kavod, and we'll give him kavod. But they intended really that they were going to maintain their travel on the main road. Okay, because even though they wanted to give kavod to this local town rabbi, their concern was that Rebbe, who is the Gadol Adar, would be denigrating himself by his traveling to see him, rather than the rabbi would travel to see them, wherever he was in the town. So they asked in the town, is there a rabbi here? A local shtat rab. So they said, Ikot Tzur Rabbana Hacha, Umori Naim Hu. So there is a rabbi here, but he is blind. Ma'ori Naim is a euphemism for being blind. Ma'ori Naim is full of light. The opposite. Right, the opposite. So Amalei Rabbi Chia Rabbi Tiv. So Rabbi Chia said to Rabbi, you sit, Tiv is shave, ve'at lo tzazal zeh b'nesiyoscha. You shouldn't denigrate your Nesius by going to see him. Now, you have to understand what's going on here. Because he's blind, he couldn't come to see them. Right. He was housebound. He was limited to where he could go. So for them to go travel and schleppzach around the entire city by foot to find this blind rabbi, so Rabbi Chia says to Rabbi, you stay here. I, the great Rabbi Chia, will go on to see him. But you're the Nasi, you shouldn't have to go put yourself down that far. the Ezel Ana, I will go via Kabal Ape, and I will be Makabal upon him, give him, greet him. So Takve, so Rebbe forced him va'azu b'hadei. He forced himself Rabbi Chia, and he went with Rabbi Chia to go see this blind scholar.
Rabbi went, you're saying? Or
Rebbe goes. Rebbe Tokaf. He forced himself. Right. He forcefully went va'azu b'hadei and went together with Rabbi Chia against the advice of Rabbi Chia. Okay, this is the story.
Right.
We don't know what happened. We don't know who the scholar is. We don't know what the conversation was. We don't know what the Kabbalas Panim was. However, at the very end, when they were about to leave and take leave of this blind scholar, so the blind scholar says to them something that strikes them as unbelievably important. Amar lahu, the blind Talmud Chacham says to Rabbi Chia, Atem hitkabaltem panim hanirim ve'enam roim. You have done kabbalas panim to the face, which is seen but doesn't see, because I'm blind. You see me, I can't see you. Tisku yishbizocha lahakbel panim, to be makabel panim, to receive the presence of lahakbel panim haroim, the face that sees, ve'enam nirin, and is not seen.
Wow.
Okay, it's a great bracha, right? This, by the way, you understand why the story is here now. Fits into the Esther Panim, the part of the story. You can't say Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Amar lahu. So Rabbi says to Rabbi Chia, wow, hashtam manasa mihai berchasa. You wanted me to miss out, to be held back from this bracha. Okay, so this, and you wanted me to be held back from this bracha. It's a good thing I came and didn't listen to you, right? This is an amazing bracha. So, and bracha is a bracha, especially from a Talmud Chacham. So, Amar lei. So they said, Miman shmielach. Where did you learn this bracha from? Like, you didn't invent it. Someone must have told it to you. So he said, Mipirkid Rabbi Yaakov Shmieli. I learned it from the teachings of Rabbi Yaakov. The Rabbi Yaakov ish kfar chitaya. That Rabbi Yaakov ish kfar chitaya. We don't know who this guy is, by the way. Have a makabel ape the Rebbe kol yoma. He would visit his teacher every day. We don't know who the teacher is. We don't really know who this Rabbi Yaakov ish kfar chitaya. We surely don't know who the blind scholar is. We don't know who Rabbi Yaakov ish chitaya's Rebbe is. Kikash. When Rabbi Yaakov ish chitaya got old, kshishim are old people. So his teacher was not old, but he, the student, Rabbi Yaakov, got old. Okay? Right. When he got old, so Amalei, so the teacher said to him, Lo nitzayamar, lo yachilmar. So he said, you shouldn't trouble yourself to come see me, because you can't do it. Every day, you, Rabbi Yaakov ish chitaya, is coming to be makabel upon him to me, kol yoma, and now that you've gotten older, it's more difficult. You don't have to come every day. I forgive you, right? Don't come. So Amalei. So Rabbi Yaakov ish chitaya said back to his Rebbe, Mizutar, is this so simple? Is it so easy? You say don't come? Like it's such a leicht zach? My dechsiv behu brabanan. What it says about, it doesn't say about the chachamim in Tehillim. V'chi od lanetzach lo yira shachas. They will live forever. They won't see the pit. Ki yira chachamim yamusu. So they will, when they see chachamim, even after they passed away. Uma haro chachamim b'risasam yichya, b'chayim al kachas kama v'kama. If a person who sees the chachamim when they're dead will get this bracha until v'chiyad lanetzach liyira shachas, surely if you see scholars when they're alive. Okay, so therefore he continued to go see his Rebbe, and therefore he recognized what it was, and it's not clear if in this going to see the Rebbe, what it shows to him was how important it was, and this blind scholar learned from Rabbi Yaakov ish chitaya the importance of greeting Talmidei Chachamim, even if it's a difficulty for you. So therefore, when Rabbi and Rabbi Chia came to visit him, visit the blind scholar, he gave them a bracha in recognition of how important a service they were doing to give him Kabbalas Panim.
Absolutely.
That's the story, and it comes together and relates to the whole Hester Panim part of this whole Gemara. Okay, now another story, related kind of story about visiting your Rebbe. It's a little semi-humorous. It's actually a serious story. Rav Idi Avud Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi. Okay, he was common, he would travel 3 months on the road, and he would come one day, he would travel 3 months, he'd have 1 day in the Beirav, in the Beis Medrash, and then he'd have to go back home. In other words, he would travel 6 months, 3 months to get there, 3 months to come back. For what kind of
1 day?
For a 1 day experience of sitting and learning the Beis Medrash, or maybe a 1 day experience to be with his Rabbi, right? So he got to do this twice a year. The rest of the time, we don't know what he did. So he probably stayed home and had to tend his crops or something. Had a job.
I think so.
So the rabbis who were in the Beis Medrash saw him. This happened every year, and they called him Bar Beirav de Chad Yuma. He is the scholar, the 1 day scholar. Bar Beirav, Bar, the son of the Beis Medrash, the Chad Yuma for 1 day. Right? I was once approached by an organization who wanted to solicit Balabatim to support a learning program. And they want to have like the parnas of the day, so they actually want to use this term, Bar Beirav de Chad Yuma. You will be the scholar of 1 day, right? Every day someone else would be the scholar of that Beis Medrash, the parnas hayom, right? Support the yeshiva. But this is where they took it from, Bar Beirav de Chad Yuma. So that's such a good term, okay? So they said this about him, and Cholash Daite, he felt very bad. And Karan Navshi called about himself, I became a laughing stock for my friends. My friends have made fun of me. It's a pasuk in Eov. So and I guess what I guess the real concern was, if he felt that the rabbi was making fun of him, who knows, he may not give them a bracha, he may give them the opposite, right? The whole story is a very funny kind of story. Mm-hmm. Were they really making fun of him, or they simply just were reflecting upon, right, how much work he did just to get there for one day? You must admit, and for us it's hard to understand in our age where you can Skype around the world, right, that you would travel 3 months for a 1 day kind of experience. Right, we have virtual experiences.
People go to like Dollyland or whatever.
It's clearly unusual because the guy could have stayed 2 weeks once he took the
right. That's right. It's not 3 months, but people go to these different places.
Which they travel for 3 days, 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks. Right, but I'm saying, look, people go to Eretz Yisrael. People go to Eretz Yisrael, make pilgrimages, religious pilgrimages, but they're still flying 12 hours each way. They'll stay for a week. Okay? You hear about people. You hear about people fly to Israel for a wedding or bar mitzvah. Mm-hmm. Right? You hear that all the time. Yeah. 12 hours there, 12 hours back, and they stay for 3 days on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, it's more time on the ground than they are flying. Anyways, so he made this statement, which of course put the rabbis in a bad light, that they were making fun of him. So Amalei Rav Yochanan. So Rav Yochanan said to Rav Idi Avud Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi, who the guy who traveled back and forth, said, Matusa minach, please sir, basically, lo tanish lu rabbanan. Don't make the rabbis shouldn't be punished for their statement that was a little bit insensitive. And he says, I'll take care of them. I'll straighten them out. I know that what they said to you made you feel bad, and you feel bad, you want to get some kind of, I don't know, nakama, some kind of, I don't know, horror, who knows what you want to do. I will straighten them out. So Nafik Rabbi Yochanan made Medrasha. Rabbi Yochanan went out to the Beis Medrash. Rabbi Yochanan was a scholar of the day, V'darash, and he quoted a pasuk from Yeshayahu, V'oti yom yom yidrashun, v'das v'cha yechafesun. And for me, every day, day by day, they will look for me, they will seek me, v'dat v'chai, and the knowledge of my ways, yechafesun, they will want to follow. So he's reflecting upon the fact that it's V'osi Yom Yom Yidbashun, day and day they will seek me. V'chi Bayom Darshim Oso, V'valayla Darshim Oso. We mean if they see God in the day, they don't see God at night. El Lom Alecha, what it means to say, the emphasis of Yom Yom, Kol Osik B'tar Fil Yom Echad Bashana, Ma Lela V'kasav Kilo Asa Kol Hashana Kula. You learn for 1 day, you've sanctified the whole year. That's all you could do, and it took you like a whole year to get there, or half a year to get there, back and forth. You got 1 day in, you got the schar for the whole year. L'fum tzara agra, whatever you did, that's the reward. V'chein, b'minas puranias. The same thing happens in a punishment, and this you will recognize from the story of the Meraglim. Dichsiv, the punishment when the Meraglim came back was they had been in Eretz Yisrael for 40 days. They came back with a negative report, and the punishment was 40 years, right? Yom Lashana, Yom Lashana. It says Yom Lashana, Yom Lashana, and then the pasuk says, "B'mispar hayamim asher tartemet haaretz," for the amount of days that you toured, or you went through the land, that you're going to v'chiaboim shana chatu. They sinned for 40 years, that they're going to be getting the sin for the amount of days that they were in Eretz Yisrael. V'alor boim yom chatu. They were only there for 40 days. In fact, the other psukim are more meforish. Lo malacha kol over avira afili yomecha b'shana ma'aleh v'kasav kilo var kol hashana kula. If a person does a sin for 1 day of the year, it's like you sin the entire day.
Right.
Okay.
The entire year.
Sorry, the entire year. Thank you.
40 days is
40 days becomes 40
You
years.
study
Right?
for one, what's like Torah,
Why
1
was
day,
the
it's a
whole-
whole year.
Why were all the Jews punished?
Why were all the Jews punished? Because they accepted the report. When they all came back, and Yoshua and Pinchas tried to Vayas Yoshua Pinchas
Yeah, Caleb.
Vayishas Kalev V'Sa'am Lemor Alona Alek Yerashnu Asal, and the people said no. The Meraglim said no, and the people said no.
They were going to stone him.
Right?
I think you said they were all crying.
Yeah, they were crying because they realized they felt they couldn't do it. Right? So the answer is they couldn't do it, and they didn't die. The people did not die then. They had 40 years, and as Midrashim tell us, nobody died less than 65. There were 40 years, so nobody died less than 40, then 60, and then 60, which is not old necessarily. But having said that, they were not ready to go in. Right? The value, of course, behind the story is they weren't ready to go in. They were people who had not been trained to understand freedom, and they were not ready for freedom. Right? They didn't. All these dictatorships that go through coups and revolts, what happens? What in 99% of the cases, another strong man comes up, a general from the army comes up, and someone takes over, and it's the same players, only the same landscape, only different players. The people are not ready. It's a long process. Okay. At any rate, this brings us finally, I should say, to the end of this long piece of Agada. Okay, Tam v'Nishla. And now we come back to our long-lost Mishnah.
Right.
Anybody remember what the Mishnah was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are the people who don't have to bring Chagiga or something?
Right.
Or are we on Chagiga on the other one?
No,
What's
we're
the other one?
going to talk about cotton now. We're going to talk about cotton. We're going to Karbanas. Chagiga.
Chagiga.
Right, we're in Chagiga.
And then what was the other Karbanas besides the Chagiga?
Korban Riyah.
Riyah.
Right. Okay, so if you go back to the Mishnah, refresh ourselves, we had a Kol Chaim Riyah, actually talks about Riyah, but also in Chagiga as well. Chutz Mecheresh, Shot of a Katan, except the Cheresh is the dumb mute, Shota is the imbecile, Katan is on the Bar Mitzvah, or on the Bat Mitzvah, Tumtum and Androgynous. These were the people of indefinite sexual gender. V'nashim, women, avodim, she'enam shukrorim, slaves that were not freed. Right? And we talked about the Eved that's only half freed. Chigar, a lame person, Suma, a blind person, Chola, sick person, and Zaken sheyochalalos braglav. So all this last group is people who physically can't go up. And then the Gemara and the Mishnah says, Ezel Katan, what is defined by a Katan who can't go up? And the Gemara already explained that we're dealing here with the mitzvah of the Rabbanan, because in other words, you'll see in a moment, some Ketanim do go up, some Ketanim don't, but it means at one point we don't even have to begin the mitzvah of China. Kol Shena Yachal Lirkov Akseifav Shalaviv. One opinion is V'lalos B'Yushlan L'Harabais. The Beit Shammai, according to Beit Shammai, he can't go on the shoulders of his father. He's so small, he's not able to be carried up. Mishlam to Harabayit, Beisilomrim, Koshin Yochol Lechos, Biadav Shalav Ivlalos, Mishlam Harabayit. The other opinion, Beisil, is you can't, he's too young to hold his father's hand and go up on his own steam, up from Yerushalayim, up to Harabayit. Shneimar Shalosh Regalim. Regalim refers to feet, refers to movement, so the cotton has to go up on his own. Okay. And then the end of the Mishnah, which we'll come back to after the next piece of Gemara, talks about which carbon should be worth more, the Chagiga or the Riyah. The two carbonos, the carbon Chagiga was eaten, the carbon Riyah was not. Okay. So we're now talking about this cotton.
And we read, sorry, when said the whole thing starts Chayavim Riyah.
Right.
So did we say that this Mishnah is only about Riyah, or the word Riyah also included?
So they were included. Some of them were included in Chagiga as well. Some were not. Okay. So, but it's dealing here with what's called the Olas Riyah. The Olas Riyah were those which were brought up on this and burnt up completely.
Right.
Then also Korban Chagiga, Shalmei Chagiga. So we're going to focus now on the part about the cotton, and the machlok is about the cotton who has to either walk up on his own or be carried up on his own, carried on his shoulders. Okay, so Gemara says, Maskif law Rabbi Zera, this last words, we're flipping to Vav Med Aleph. So Gemara says, Rabbi Zera, Hacha, man asaya, or man asye. Until now, who brought this cotton? How did the cotton get here? Right? We say he's either got to get up on his own steam, or he's got to be carried up on the shoulders. But in other words, how did he get as far as he did? In other words, who did the father? I mean, look, if the father has to walk with him, I mean, he walked all the way, or did someone else brought him? How did he get there? It's simply a practical question. We're concerned how the cotton goes from Yerushalayim to Harabayit. But what about the rest of the journey? So Gemara says, Ad hacha manasye, Amalei Abaye ad hacha, the mechayve ime besimcha asye ime. From this point until this point, the mother who is chayiv in the mitzvah of simcha, shamei simcha, she was one. She brought him. So she's coming up herself to Yerushalayim. Mm-hmm. So she schlepped the cotton, because who looks after the kids? Mm-hmm. It's the women, right? So mikan va'elach, and from that point on, the father takes over. Okay, so the Gemara works with an assumption that the woman is going to be responsible to bring the child, because she's coming up anyway for Shalmei Simcha. Okay, now. But it's not that clear that women are, the mitzvah of Simcha is with Shalmei Simcha for women. There's a Gemara in Masechet Baba, in Kedushin I should say, which seems to say that the way for women to celebrate is they were given Big Day Pishtan, Big Day Tzivonim, colored garments, or linen garments, depending whether it's Yisrael or Bavel. And here it seems to say that it was Shalmei Simcha as a celebration. So the actual use of the word, the mother is coming for Simcha, to celebrate with Shalmei Simcha, may not be exact. That's what Tosfos points out. But the assumption is that she was coming with her husband, she was going to be there, and she's there. So therefore, the only question is what does a child need to go on his own steam up to Harabayit, or does the father need to carry him up on his shoulders? But practically speaking, the mother came up. But the assumption is that for the mitzvah of going to Aliyah Regel, the father goes, and the mother goes, and the child goes. Correct? So the Gemara has one question. It's a question that you'll see right away when we ask it how logical it is. So the Gemara says, what happened to Chana? Right? When Shmuel was born, Chana goes up before Shmuel's born. Right. She prays. The Eli sees her lips moving.
All three have gone up to the
right. But then Shmuel is born, and she says, "I'm not going up until Aji Gomel, until he's weaned. And then I'm going to bring him up, and I give him over to the Kohen, and he stays there." Yeah. So, okay, it's good that Shmuel doesn't go, but she has to go. I mean, how could she do this?
No problem.
All right. Why didn't she bring him before? Why didn't she bring him up, bring him back? And then bring him back for 3 years and bring him back. So, especially according to the opinion that the cotton is chayiv to go up if he can sit on the shoulders of his father. Even if he walks, it's possible. He can't do it every day, but it's possible for a 2-year-old, right, in slow steps, in slow procession, to go up from what we know today is the lower city of Yerushalayim, right? That's where the Jewish quarter is, right? Especially as it goes down, it keeps going down the hill, and go up to Har Bayit. It's an incline, but it's still possible. Right? It may take him a couple hours. So why didn't she go up before? So the Gemara asks the question. It's a very funny way the question is asked. Heishiv Rabbi Tachas Beis Hillel L'Devrei Beis Shammai. So Rabbi asked in place of Beis Shammai according to the words of Beit Hillel. He's asking really according to Beis Shammai's opinion, and he's kind of standing to support Beis Hillel. What it probably means, and you'll see the questions about Chana, is maybe little Shmuel couldn't walk up on his own. But surely according to Beis Shammai that the cotton can go on the father's shoulders, so you could argue that he could have gone on the father's shoulders. So you could argue that how old is Shmuel when he's weaned? 3 years old.
3 years old.
So maybe under 3 years old he really couldn't walk up from Yerushalayim to Har Bayit. But father should be able to carry him up. So why didn't she go? So that's the question that Rebbe's asking in place of Beis Hillel against Beis Shammai. V'chana lo also. Chana did not go up when Shmuel was born. She didn't go up to Yerushalayim with her husband. Ki amar li isha aji gomel anar v'hav yosiv. Okay, until he's weaned, then I'll bring him up. So Gemara says, "V'Shmuel," or Rabbi says, "V'Shmuel diachal kavak seva shalaviv hava." But Shmuel could have sat on the shoulders of Elkanah and go up. So Amalei. So Amalei Avua. So the father of Rabbi responded on behalf of Beit Shammai to his son Rabbi. So Amalei Avua, so the father or Amalei Avua, Ula Tamech, Tikshlach Chana Gufa. How come Chana didn't go up? Okay, so according to Beis Hillel, young Shmuel didn't have to go up, but Chana should have to go up. So Mila Machayva b'Simcha, she's not Chayva in the midst of Simchas Regel. So the answer is Ella. This is the father of Rebbe responding to Rebbe. Elachana mefankuta yeterta chaze baby Shmuel. She saw that Shmuel was mefunak. He was very tender. He was very how would you say it? Mefunak.
Today we say spoiled.
Spoiled, but not spoiled. Spoiled, right? She saw that he was of a tender nature.
Right.
And v'chasha baby Shmuel, she was concerned with Shmuel, for the baby Shmuel, for that he would get weakened along the road. So she didn't go. You can't say, well, why didn't she leave the child with a nursemaid? She didn't have a nursemaid, right? You understand, as a child, if she has nursing the child, she's not parting with the child until he's weaned, so then she's got to take the kid with him. The only question is, why didn't she leave him at the foot of Har Bayit in the village of Yerushalayim, the city of Yerushalayim, and go up on herself? The answer was, she said, I can't take the kid up with me. If he can't go up, I have to stay with him at home to nurse him. Yes.
Well, he was chosha. He was weak. Yeah.
He was weak. No, the chosha was chosha of the orcha, the weakness of the road.
Oh,
the travel would weaken him because he was so tender and easy to get sick.
So can you never carry a child up to Har Bayit? I thought it was only for Chagiga you couldn't carry it up.
No, so for the child is chayiv in the mitzvah.
But she could have taken him up another time when there wasn't just to.
Yes, she could have taken him. Yes, true. Yes, correct. So the question, it's a funny kind of question. The question is, Shmuel, the great Shmuel, this prophet, the future prophet of the Jewish people, we must assume that his parents gave him everything they needed to become a prophet, all the spiritual experiences. So how come his mother didn't take him up? Or how come the father didn't take him up according to Beis Shammai? By Hillel, you can understand he couldn't walk. So the Gemara's answer is, that's the wrong question. The question is, how come Chana didn't go? So Chana would go up, whether she carried him or didn't carry him up. So let's say according to Beis Hillel, the kid's not yotze the mitzvah until he walks up himself. But she carried him up and she'd be yotze the mitzvah. The answer was, the issue was not that he couldn't go up. She was afraid to bring him along the journey.
Right.
The actual difficulty of the journey weakens you. It schleps you out.
Yeah.
We all know that. You come back exhausted from a trip.
Yeah.
right? Especially in Eretz Yisrael.
Harder than trips today.
The trips are much harder, correct? Trips are very hard.
Really?
I'm sorry?
The olden days.
Yes. Yes.
The real answer, though, is because you remember with Abraham, and Elkanah said the same thing. When she said, send Hagar away, Abraham said, do this is your shivcha, do whatever you want. When she said, I'm not going to go up,
He said,
and I'm going to bring my Tovbein, you do whatever you want. So both husbands might have realized that these women were special in some ways. They had a kind of a,
maybe,
say, nevuah, but both husbands said, you know what?
Right, but the Gemara tries to relate this to the.
Yeah, I appreciate this. I'm sidetracking him.
It's not just the trip. The journey was difficult, and the conditions in Yerushalayim were difficult. People were squeezed.
Oh.
You know, it's like people who go to Uman for Rosh Hashanah. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
People squeezing on top of each other.
Look, Lahavdil, look at what happened in the Hajj now. They just killed 3,000 people or something. Got trampled. Hey,
there was a few hundred people get killed.
Because
every year.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because the way they march, they cross paths.
Do they?
Yes, yes. There are all these people. They've got to go to these different places, but they each path crosses the other one. So you've got these thousands of people crossing sideways, and when someone gives a yell, a shrai, fire, right? They all start running, but they're crossing each other.
Maybe who knows where Yerushalayim? Like I said, there were a lot of people there in those days.
But Yerushalayim, they're going to one place.
I agree.
The Hajj, they've got like 15 stops they got to make.
Well, they go to the different.
I'm saying, but the way they go, they're crossing each other, one around.
If every man in Israel went up, which he didn't, 3 times a year, then
it was.
Not to mention his wives, right? That's a lot of people.
And Perek Yavos says, one of the miracles of the Beis Hamikdash was Omdim Tzufim V'Shtachnu Revachim. People stood, they were squeezed like sardines. When they came to bow, there was room for everybody.
Before they got
so when they got, if they're squeezed up on Har Bayit, when they came to look for provisions and place to stay,
that's what
Lo Amar Litzali Amakam B'Yerushalayim. No one ever found the difficulty to find a place. No one even understands how it happens.
They never complained though.
At least they never said. They didn't say it.
They didn't report it to the guys who were ready.
River walls.
All right. Boy.
So, all right. Now, boy Rabbi Shimon. Okay, we got time for one piece of Gemara. Try to get the 2 dots. Boy Rabbi Shimon. Katan Chagiga l'devrei Bayt Shammai v'suma l'devrei Shnei Mahu. If you have a katan who's lame, and according to Beit Shammai, because according to Beit Shammai the katan has to walk. What if the katan can't walk?
Right.
We learned before if a gadol can't walk, he's patur. Right. If the gadol walks in general, there's a special thing for the katan. He's got to walk up according to Beit Shammai, according to Beit Hillel, and a suma, and a katan who is a suma, who according to Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel. Right. We're asking about the katan now.
Right.
So hechidami. What is the halacha? So Gemara tries to understand the question. If we're dealing with a lame person who can't ever get straightened, they're never going to be cured, incurable. The child will be lame for the rest of his life. And a blind person that won't be able to open his eyes, he'll be blind for life. It's genetic fallacy. Hash the gadol pater cut me by it, right? It's surely if a gadol can't do it, so katan surely cannot. The Gemara says lo tzricha v'chiger sheyochel lispashet v'suma sheyochel litpateach. Now we're dealing with a child who presently is lame. He has a congenital defect that will be cured, and a suma who has got something, a deformity that's going to be cured as he develops, and his eyes will open up and he'll be able to see as he gets older. Samai. So Rabbi, and this is, by the way, a rule that applies for mitzvah of chinuch. Kol heicha de gadol machayv midaraisa, katan nam mechanchina lahu midrabanan. Every place that a gadol is chayv in a Torah, the katan is chayv midrabanan. Kol heicha de gadol pater midaraisa, midrabanan katan nami pater. The gadol is pater. Then a katan is going to also be pater. So I think it means at this point that if the gadol himself can't go up because he is unable to walk, even though next year he may be able to walk, the same thing would apply to the katan. Right? You can't view a katan simply in a different way. The mitzvah midrabanan is going to mimic exactly the mitzvah midoraisa. Don't say that we're going to train the katan now because in the future, in the future he'll be able to see, or he'll be cured from his lameness. You view the cotton the same way the gadol. The gadol today is blind; he can't go up. If he is cured next year, he can go up. So the same thing will be for the cotton. The important about this rule is not so much for this halacha, but it means that every mitzvah of chinuch has to mimic exactly the mitzvah in Torah. So, for example, when they sell chinuch sets for esrogim, lulavim, right, and they mean to say that the esrog is puzzle, but are you really?
That's not good according to this.
So according to that would be no good. So the answer is maybe it's not possible, maybe but it is kosher. So if you take the literal meaning of what the chinuch said is, right, that I won't sell it to you, Mr. Gadol, because you can't do this mitzvah, but a child you can, right? It's not a mitzvah chinuch. The same way you sometimes see they get these kids these plastic lulav and esrog sets. You ever see them for babies? That's right. That's not really. I mean, I can't say it's bad, but it's not the mitzvah chinuch. It means clearly this child is not of age that he needs to have the mitzvah chinuch because he does not take care of a lulav and esrog. The mitzvah chinuch is only applicable if the child can understand and do the mitzvah. Doesn't mean the child needs to have this little plastic blow-up lulav and esrog because he wants to get what daddy has. Right? It's nice. It's good. It's good for the trade, for the mocher svarim. But it's not really the mitzvah of chinuch. The mitzvah of chinuch, which is a rabbinic mitzvah, must mimic or must replicate what the mitzvah is min Torah for a gadol.
The problem then with these matzah bakeries in here that aren't the real bakeries for matzah.
So that's you're right. So right. So the
when they take kids in, you mean to show them.
Right. The model matzah bakeries. The model matzah bakeries that Lubavitch does is clearly not a mitzvah chinuch. They would call it an experiential kind of thing, and they're very clear to say it's not a matzah, it's Muhammad's Gomer. Yes, it is. Correct, and they're clear about that. Because the flour is commercial flour they start with, and they're not careful.
18 minutes.
It's for sure chametz. And you hope the kid doesn't take it home and use it for the Seder night. But the Lubavitch, who has this campaign, feels, nonetheless, this is a way for kids to have an experience. Experiential Judaism sells more than simply talking about it. Okay.
Flowers washed.
We'll stop here.